Ding dong. Hello?
Yes, that's right, infidels. You found us here, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, where you get the most real talk, the best reviews of all your favorite wrestling shows from AEW and WWE, Impact, and more, because we're going to break it all down with the best staff in professional wrestling at HMG. So you don't need to go anywhere else, because there's no 5 stars here. There's only $5 face slaps, infidel. Hello, Akbar! So sign up today, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, and join the Hameen Army for the most real talk in professional wrestling. YOLO!
They was sleeping, they was snooze on me. I was dreaming about what food to eat. Why they sleeping, why they snoozed on me? I was seizing opportunity. Now they don't know what to do with me. I keep going hard like I'm in puberty. Rebellions in my blood, there ain't no ruling me. I'm coming for the top, this is a mutiny. Shit, I want percentage, yeah. Put you in your mind like fucking Guinness, yeah. You never had a chance like an abortion. Broken, you don't wanna play with me to forfeit. Shit, took it to a place that never thought he could. Now the lone wolf is howling up in Bollywood. Now I got some confidence, they call me cocky. Like a fucking tiger in the eye, I feel like Rocky. I am untouchable, I cannot fuck with you. I do not follow rules, makes me uncomfortable. I got all this passion and desire, force my path with the fire. Never passive, I acquire till I'm crashing your empire. They was sleeping, they was snooze on me. I was dreaming about what food to eat. Why they sleeping, why they snoozed on me? I was seizing opportunity. Coming for the top, this is a mutiny. Don't know what to do. Why they snoozed on me? I was seizing opportunity. They don't know what to do with me. I keep going hard like I'm in puberty.
Hello everyone and welcome to the PWC AEW All In Prediction Show. I am your host Jimmy T and my usual co-hosts, they're the usual suspects, Chris Sams. Welcome back to the PWC. Heck, we just did a show about 30 minutes ago?
About that, yeah. I have a little more energy and I'm a little more upbeat for this show, so I'm going to go ahead and do my My usual intro. I am Christopher Rams. That's AMBS, like lambs with no L or bullshit first thing in the morning. Don't worry, if you ever forget how to spell my last name, I'll just remind you at the beginning of every show. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. Heard we were doing a prediction show, and I was like, all right, cool. I'll do one of those.
Yeah, I'm actually happy that you joined us because I didn't expect that. And you just jumped in. I'm like, hey, pleasant surprise. And, but yeah, so I'm happy that you're here, man. But our other co-host, he is the evil of all evils. He is Dr. Jeff Lippman. Welcome to the PWC prediction show, or All In prediction show. And how you feeling after tonight's news, man? I'm sure you want to say a few things about Bray Wyatt's passing. Jeez, I was tongue twisted then. Shocking stuff, dude.
Well, firstly, I'm surprised you're surprised Chris is here, because doesn't the PWC stand for Predictions with Chris?
Well, I guess it does. No, I was saying that because I thought he wasn't going to do it. Because you said that in the chat, right? You went up for it, but yeah, here he is.
I didn't say that in the chat.
Oh, I thought that's what I read. Don't worry, it doesn't matter. The point is, all three of us are here. That's all that matters.
Right. Yeah, I'm shocked. I remember, it was a few weeks ago that we had heard that he was, sort of on death's door, and I don't think, that I didn't pay it much mind. I just figured they were exaggerating whatever was going on in his head, or he felt. I thought it was more mental than physical, and not that mental health is not physical health, but we still distinguish, probably wrongly, but we do, or I do. That we heard today, he died of a heart attack. Apparently, he caught COVID. I don't know when. I don't know in which iteration. I don't know if it was more recent, and that it exacerbated some already existing heart issues. Which, you're never shocked when you see a 330-pound man or hear that they have heart issues. And he's, and while wrestling is athletic, he was, he's a slower, more methodical wrestler, more a character actor than an athletic actor. But I didn't think he had heart issues like such as those or any. So yeah, I'm shocked. I'm saddened by it. I feel a little bit guilty for me turning heel on him so much.
Me too, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
WrestleMania, I'm feeling a little guilt for my little ha-has and yucks on the show. But the family kept everything quiet, so you don't know, and then you don't know. But we're doing a wrestling podcast, and it's not all shoot; it's part work, and it's based on the information we have at the time. Which, if you keep something quiet, you have every right to keep it quiet. It's just but people are gonna jump to whatever conclusions, or and especially in this crappy industry where the news is not really the news. I mean, we don't have any reliable sources of news, or even the best of the best aren't good that often and are wrong so often, or in other ways just so unappealing or unlikable that it's hard to sort of believe them. Anyway, saddened and shocked. This comes on the heels of Terry Funk, which of course he lived to 79, and he lived a cowboy 79 years. So, I mean, and we knew that he was in, not in the greatest of health for the last couple of years. So, while it's sad, it's, I'm sure he had, I'm sure he looked back on his life with no regrets. And I mean, Terry Funk, someone who was a legend. I mean, he was already a legend when the territories were still territories. I mean, there were few wrestlers that wherever you were from, even if they rarely came to your area, you still knew who they were. And Terry Funk was one of them. More so than the Funks. It was more Terry Funk than Dory Funk Jr. I mean, you'd heard of Dory Funk Jr., but it was Terry Funk, Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, Dusty Rhodes, and you probably had heard about the Von Erichs, and then a little bit later on the Freebirds. But that was probably the national legends of wrestlers not in the area. And then you heard about Ric Flair and a couple others, but maybe Harley Race popped in there. But I don't know. On the legends not in your area, I would say Funk, Butcher, Bruiser, Von Erichs, and Dusty. Those were the ones that wherever you were, if you were even vaguely aware of wrestling, you knew their names. And it's been a bad week to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And like you said
And
about
that
Terry
had nothing
Funk.
to do with how terrible Dynamite was this week.
Yeah. I know, it's true, man. But yeah, look, we would have spoken about Terry Funk, a lot more than we did, but I'm sorry, the fact that, Bray Wyatt died at 36 years old, and like you said, he lived a cowboy life, and I'm talking about Terry Funk. I mean, RIP to the hardcore legend, but he lived his life, man. And like Chris said on the skirmish, he's got kids, he's got grandkids, he's probably got grandkids at this point, and RIP to Terry Funk, but more importantly, RIP to the Rotunda family, because it's tragic, man. It really is. And,
Yeah,
I'm just like you, Jeff.
If you were going to hear Wyndham die, I think we were expecting to hear Barry Windham. Because he was in very poor health recently. He had a serious heart attack. He's been pushing 400 pounds. I don't know. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's that's.
No, that's
I thought I read the wrong. I thought somebody just jumped the gun and wrote the wrong.
Oh, believe me, I felt the same way. I thought, no way, that's bullshit. And unfortunately, it wasn't. And yeah, my heart goes out to the family, especially to his wife and kids, man, because it sucks. You know what I mean? And I'm like you, Jeff. I was guilty. It was just a couple of days ago. I was on a Next Level podcast, as I was saying on the skirmish with Big Ray and John Enright. And, they asked me, I'm pretty sure it was Ray that asked me, who would I fire right now in WWE? Heck, I said Bray Wyatt, ironically. And it has nothing to do with his talent, because, heck, everybody knows I'm a fan of his, right? Always have been. But I thought, the mental rumors were true, and I just felt like, he wasn't mental enough, in this current run. And I just thought, you know what, I'll just fire him because he's useless. If he can't do this, it's not worth him being there. And then, unfortunately, the sad news happens today, so it is what it is, man, and that's life. But once again, RIP. We might do a proper show about him and Terry Funk. We'll do an extra in the next, coming days, where we really pay tribute to Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk. But, we just, said what we had to say in the now. Maybe there'll be more news that comes out about his death, but we'll find out. I am looking forward to SmackDown, and I'm going to ask you first, Jeff. Do you think SmackDown will be a tribute show, or does the show go on?
The show will go on. They'll do a tribute in there, but the show will go on. I mean, he hasn't really been on the active roster since, a little bit before WrestleMania, and even then, I mean, let's face it, his most recent return was not exactly going so great.
Right.
So no, I don't think they're going to do a whole tribute show. I think they're in the middle of a bunch of stories. They're bringing Jimmy Uso back in, and there's going to be a live crowd there. So the live crowd didn't come to go to a memorial service. I mean, they didn't buy tickets for that. So yeah, no, they'll do a tribute, and nobody's better in the business of doing a tribute documentary. If they want to do that, they'll put it on Peacock or A&E or both within the next 6 months or so, or a year, like they just put up with Cody, and I think there's a Kurt Angle one that's up now, and they do a really good job with that stuff. So I don't think SmackDown is the right place for a tribute show per se.
I personally think they will do a tribute show, because it's one of those deaths, like we were saying earlier, like Owen Hart, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit. I think this death really hits home to the current roster, which I think will affect them a lot. And I just don't see him being normal, but that's just me. Chris, what do you think before we get into predictions? Do you think they'll end up doing a tribute, or does the show go on?
Well, I think it depends on what you mean by a tribute show. I think that he's going to get a 10-bell salute at the start of the show. I think that the announcers are going to talk about the fact that he's passed. I think that maybe you might have an in-ring segment to begin with Triple H or somebody else referencing it, talking about it. you're going to have at least 2 or 3 video packages where they show him, and I'm guessing at least 75 to 80% of the roster are going to be wearing armbands that say Bray or Wyndham or whatever. So it depends on what you mean by tribute show. They're not going to dedicate the entire show to him, I don't think. But, I mean, it's going to be very clear that they're thinking about him and that he's in everybody's thoughts.
Yeah, I think we'll have a whole bunch of wrestlers talking about Bray. You know, we'll see him crying and whatnot, and a whole bunch of nothing matches. I think having the Jimmy Uso part where he talks is going to be pretty difficult and a lot of pressure for him to actually go through. But we'll see. I mean, either way, as I said before, I'm pretty sure the Bray Wyatt news is going to dominate every show that we do moving forward right now until next week, because it is what it is. So RIP once again to the Rotunda family, and it's a tragic. But let's get into predictions though, guys, because I mean that's what we're here for. And it's AEW All In coming from Wembley Stadium in London, England.
It's the biggest show in the history of pro wrestling, Jimmy. Don't undersell
it. the biggest professional wrestling show in the history of professional wrestling, which is a load of crap. Jeff, I mean, it's a load of crap, right? 80,000, it's nothing to sniff at. But we all know WWE have gotten more than 80K.
I don't care about this. This is not an issue I care about. I mean, they want to say it's the biggest show in wrestling history. Well, it's fine. I couldn't care less. This dick measuring on attendance and what's a real attendance and what's not a real attendance, and you know what does 2 days count versus 1 day, and you know, and does this one comp more tickets than this one? I don't care about any of this.
Fair enough. Good call. Well, let's start from the main event, guys. Or do you want to start from the main event down, or do you want to work our way up?
I'm gonna start at the bottom and work my way up, kind of fella. So I mean, that's my vote if we're doing this live and in living color.
Chris, we started from the bottom. Now we're here. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, seconded. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to the
0 hour. Your predictions of 0 hour might impact the main event.
I guess you're right. So let's go straight to that, because it is our free match, which is still puzzling to me. But it is Aussie Open, your Ring of Honor World Champions, putting their belts on the line versus MJF and Adam Cole. You know what? This is not as easy as you guys think to predict. But I'm going to say Aussie Open.
It is to predict.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think Aussie Open will win because they're going to show dissension building up to the main event. Surely that's how it goes. Jeff, what about you?
I agree. I mean, so I do think that maybe you do think it's as easy as I think. Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, for one, I don't think that MJF is somebody who's willing to work more for his money. So he's not going to be working Ring of Honor and AEW shows. I don't think he wants to work both Collision and Dynamite because they tape Ring of Honor during, before and after Collision. I'm not sure about Adam Cole, but I'm guessing he's okay with a lighter work schedule as well. So, but yeah, I think they're going to tease dissension, and I think they're going to, that the X factor is, the sexy thing is to think that Adam Cole's going to reunite with the Kingdom and Roderick Strong, and it'll be sort of a new version of the Undisputed Era / Kingdom, but not exactly the same. I actually don't think that necessarily, but I don't want to spoil, what we're going to talk about in 40 minutes. But yeah, I think Aussie Open retains. I do think we will see some Roderick Strong and/or Kingdom impact, whether they come to the ring or it's on the screen or they're at the ramp, but there'll be some sort of distraction, and both Cole and MJF will blame the other one for not paying attention or not having their head in the game.
Chris, what's your prediction?
Yeah, no, I think it's a 3 for 3. I think that's how they're going to try to build some heat for the main event. But I mean, hey guys, you're supposed to build heat for the main event leading up to the event and not on the night of the event right before people. I don't understand what the fuck they're doing with this. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. because Adam Cole is not going to show up for Ring of Honor. I don't care how much he says that the Ring of Honor title means to him. He doesn't care about the Ring of Honor title because nobody cares about the Ring of Honor title right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Oi, oi,
100%. Oi, indeed. You know what, man? The Aussie Open, a lot of people talk about him in forums, man, which kind of surprised me, but we won't get into that. But I'm just saying they do have their fans that are not Australian. That's all I'm saying. Anyway,
Apparently
next,
you have it in a search engine or something, because I almost never see anything about them.
well, if you look into them, you'll see it's not hard. I just typed Aussie Open and I read it.
Sure.
Fucking
If,
thing came up. But anyway,
if I'm a hammer, I'm
who
going to find
cares?
a lot of nails. I mean, yeah, sure.
Not if you're Charles the Hammer Alford, though. Yeah, if you get the joke.
I don't know that for sure.
Anyway, next match we have Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi versus the Bullet Club Gold in Juice Robinson, Jay White, and Konosuke. Well, how do they pronounce it? Konosuke, or whatever the fuck it is. Takeshita. In a 6-man tag match. I'm going to say Bullet Club Gold get the win here. Jeff.
Well, we learned this week that Bullet Club Gold attacked the Elite because Don Callis hired them to do so, which would have been something that would have been interesting to have learned before it happened, as opposed to a week and a half after. Even a little bit after might have made sense. I mean, of course, AEW has overdone the mercenary thing, the payoff, way too many times. Listen, I don't know.
I shall take that back. The Elite. Yeah.
I don't know what Kota Ibushi's status is with AEW, but you're not bringing Kota Ibushi in, and you're not throwing together Takeshita, who his only difference is he wears a black jacket, which makes him evil.
Right.
And Bullet Club Gold, which is they're hired help in this. This isn't even their show. It's not even their crew. It's just they can all get along well enough to pretend that they hate each other. You have Juice Robinson in the match to eat pins. I mean that's what he's there for. That's how he's booked, except on occasion on Collision, where they sometimes book him to win. But everywhere else, he's Juice the Jobber, and this is going to be no difference. Faces go over. Might there be a beatdown? Might there be some other interference to set up a Jay White versus Kenny Omega thing? Maybe there might. I have no idea because I don't know what the status is of Collision Cast versus Dynamite, but I don't have to worry about that right now. Face is high.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to actually go with the Elite as well. I don't know what I was thinking there for a split second. So the Elite from me. Chris, is it the Elite from you?
Yeah, and for very similar reasons. I think that they need to build something in order to get any kind of heat on anybody, and right now it just makes more sense since it's an exhibition match. And I, spoiler, think FTR are going to win the tag match. I think that the Elite need at least a couple of wins on the night, and otherwise they're going to be real pouty and angry. What else can I say about this? I am shocked and a little dismayed that there are this many potential main eventers on this card that is supposed to be the biggest card in the history of professional wrestling, and the best thing that they could come up with for Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Jay White is for them all to be in a 6-man match. It seems like a big fucking waste of talent to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's true, man. Now that you put it that way too, that makes me think of the FTR match, but we'll get to that shortly. But let's move on though from that. So we all agree the Elite wins that match. So next we go fucking hell from tag match after tag match to another tag match, and it is Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, and the best friends in Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, and the Lucha Brothers, except not Ray. That's not Ray Phoenix. Versus the Blackpool Combat Club in John Moxley, Claudio, Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta in a Stadium Stampede match.
You forgot 2 of the guys.
It says to be announced. Oh, yeah, that's right. Ortiz and Santana. I'm going to go Blackpool Combat Club. That's how much I give a fuck. I couldn't care less.
There will still be matches announced. They'll probably be for 0 Hour, but knowing Tony, there'll be other matches announced. But I guess we'll get to those either on if we do an extra or Uncaged.
No, we will. We will definitely. We definitely will. No, we're definitely doing Uncaged tomorrow after. We
have a wreckage between now and then also. But
Rampage
to see it live
after Rampage.
You're gonna have to catch us live. Otherwise, you have to wait or you have to be a member of HMG to hear it. To hear any supplemental picks. So a little incentive for you to pay those $5, or at least follow us on YouTube and subscribe that you get notification and you can watch it live.
That's right, and that's when you get it
taken
for free.
Me 3.5 years of podcasting to remember to promote things.
I know, me too. I still don't promote our YouTube channel, even though we're suddenly getting
everything. You're great.
I know. No, well, shit. Someone's got to do it, but I actually forget to promote our YouTube channel a lot. But anyway, that's not what we're here for just yet. So the Blackpool Combat Club from you, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, this whole match is such a bloody mess. I don't really know, but there's. I just figure this thing is leading to Moxley versus Orange Cassidy, and maybe at some point we'll get Claudio versus Eddie Kingston at All Out, because it couldn't happen in Ring of Honor because apparently Eddie hates him and we don't know why. I don't know. Last we saw Santana and Ortiz, they couldn't stand each other, but Ortiz wasn't trusting Eddie. Eddie wasn't trusting Ortiz. They were being wooed by the House of Black. None of this makes sense. I don't think Santana Ortiz is a part of the Blackpool Combat Club, but
that's so dumb, bro.
I see the heels going over. I'm more curious as to if this is a stadium stampede. How are they going to do it live? Right. I mean, it's got to be a video. It's got to be a pre-recorded match, which also seems weird. But how else do you do it unless you've got an entire another stadium? Because you're going to have field seats. I mean, the stadium is full of people. Unless it's just a falls count anywhere, no DQ match, and that's not. Stadium stampedes have always been cinematic. So anyway, you didn't ask me about any of that. The BCC and friends. I mean, there's no shortage of people on the other team that can take pins. Everyone except Orange Cassidy is a pin eater.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh yeah, still. I mean, this is a trifecta again because I mean, otherwise you're expecting me to believe that a team consisting of the Blackpool Combat Club and the returning Santana and Ortiz are going to lose to a team with Chuck Taylor. I just can't. I can't. My suspension of disbelief can only go so far, and that is further than it will go.
I don't blame you. This show's already seems very predictable. It is what it is. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? Because next it's Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho in a grudge match.
What's the grudge about, Jimmy?
Well, if you want to know about the grudge, how about you check out the skirmish and you can find out right here on the PWC network. So yeah, check that out, and you'll hear us talking about that. So let's not get into why this match is happening.
I heard Will Ospreay didn't text Jericho's daughter back after their second date.
Yeah, who the fuck knows? But I was impressed with their promos. I won't lie, except for, yeah, you don't want to fuck with me, yeah, you bruv, and just one too many bruvs and yeah. But other than that, it was a real, it felt like a real promo with a lot of truth to it, as well as Jericho. But anyway, who cares? Fuck that. We're not here to talk about that. I'm going to say Ospreay, obviously because he's in, his own neck of the woods. So yeah, Will Ostrich for me. Jeff.
I don't have a good feeling about this match either way. I mean, my usual rule is to not pick the guy who doesn't work for the company. And they just sort of turn Jericho face for what? But it's not even that ambitious a face turn. It's not even that clear he's the face in it. And Ospreay, if his contract really is coming up in 6 months, the next guy to do the bidding war of 2024. I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't mind landing in AEW. he is a champion of a British Rev Pro, I believe.
Yes, but who cares about Rev Pro?
Well, I mean, the British fans who bought tickets without knowing a card might. I mean, that's. I mean, you said he's the hometown boy, so I mean, Jericho's been doing a lot of losing. Yet, despite all of that, I'm trying. Okay, Jericho is going to lose because Sammy Guevara is finally going to turn on him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can see that happening. Chris, do you agree?
Yeah, and I mean, Ospreay needs to get to the point where he's pinned Omega, Okada, and Jericho all in the matter of.
He gave it away right there by saying that, right?
I think so, and also he's half the age of Chris Jericho, and he doesn't look like my Auntie Irene, so I'm going with Ospreay.
Which auntie does he look like?
He does. He looks like my Auntie Irene. My Auntie Irene is a very attractive, 60-year-old woman, but like she's a 60-year-old woman. That's what Chris Jericho looks like.
Yeah, Jericho. Listen, I don't want to talk too much about a guy over 50's body, which is still much better than mine. But like, didn't he look a lot different like 3 weeks ago? Like when he took his jacket off, like his boobs were all dripping, his arms look thinner, and the skin seemed looser. It's like he still has the abs, but everything else, it's like age is catching up with him everywhere else.
Yeah, he's looking old and thrashed.
But Fozzie's going to play for the crowd. I mean, how does Fozzie play and he loses the? That's AEW. They don't think that much.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's true. Also, what was I going to say? There was something I was meant to say. Oh, yeah. He's still got abs, though. I'll give him that. So it is what it is.
It was a passionate promo by Will Ospreay, and I think
it was good. It was good.
Confused with good, but yeah, it was passionate. Yeah. It seemed like he believes he is the best in the world, which sort of means cock because you ain't, but okay. And the only thing I kept thinking is how small and young he looks, except next to Sammy Guevara, who looked small next to Cool Hand Angelo Parker.
Right.
I mean, Sammy Guevara is just like shrinking. He's whatever. Not the show. I already made my pick. I'm going to stick with it. I don't feel great about
it. Chris, what's your prediction?
I already gave my prediction, Jimmy. Stop arguing with Homeboy in the chat. Fucking do your job.
So did you say Ospreay? You did, right? All right. Anyway, fuck off, Homeboy. Shit. You fucking distracted me, and you know how I get distracted. Anyway.
The other thing keeps throwing me off is like I keep overthinking things because I keep thinking they have another pay-per-view to sell a week later, so you can have a lot of fuck finishes and you can just do like a backlash kind of thing with a bunch of rematches and take the easy way out.
Can you imagine they fucking do that on the biggest show in the history of pro wrestling? Like this fucking company. Oh God.
Well, he's flying. He's going to fly in 45 people that don't need to be there.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, next we have your real World Championship match. I guess your real AEW World Championship match. It is CM Punk, your champion, versus Samoa Joe. Now, this is interesting because since it's for the championship, I mean, Punk surely gets the win here, right? I mean, he's not going to lose the championship. Or does he lose via...
Don't play that host asking
questions. I might say Joe via... I'm going to say Joe via disqualification.
Okay.
Jeff.
I'm not really sure this is for the championship. The real championship doesn't...
Well, if it's not, that's different. Then I'll change my prediction.
I just haven't really heard that. I just heard it's Joe versus Punk. Anyway, Punk's not there to lose in front of the biggest crowd in wrestling history, and Joe loses routinely. So, and if Punk's going to try to do anything with this real world's champion thing, and they're going to let him try to make it have legs until the two sides can play together again, he can't very well lose 2.5 months after coming back. So yeah, Punk wins.
Chris?
Yep. I love Samoa Joe. I'd love for them to do something to change my mind, but at this point it wouldn't even look like a surprise finish. It would look like a panic finish. If Joe won, it would look like we have nothing interesting going on tonight. Maybe we better have Joe win this X Division championship, huh? Because there's an X through it. But no, yeah, CM Punk's going to win.
It's not even title versus title.
I know. Jeez. Anyway, let's
CM
move
Punk
on.
has no interest in a Ring of Honor championship. He's like,
That's
no,
right.
that's okay.
Wow, yeah.
Joe is the king of TV, not the king of pay-per-views.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, next we have your AEW Women's World Title match. It is Hikaru Shida, your champion, versus Toni Storm, versus Saraya, versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Oh man, do we give the UK fans what they want and Saraya wins the championship? I'll say yes. Jeff, does Saraya win the AEW Women's Championship? I don't even know why. She shouldn't get it, but I can see her getting it.
If they were going to give the UK fans what they want, Saraya would have sex with them all.
Oh, that's true. Ding dong.
Yeah, I think that Saraya wins. I mean, the only point of giving the title to Hikaru Shida, a face off of Toni Storm, who was having a fairly successful title run despite being mired with a bunch of different factions, which only was starting to get a little bit interesting. And now she's sort of doing a character thing. I'm not exactly sure what's
it's turned to
there.
shit.
It sort of has turned to shit. It's turned from her going from a hot mess into her, I guess, thinking she's different types of starlets from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. I'm not really sure about any of that, but that will play into it. She'll be confused, not know where she is. She'll walk away or be bedazzled or something. But yeah, so Saraya's in England. She's going to win, which is now making me think about my Will Ospreay pick again. But no, you already made the pick. You don't get to take it back.
Yeah, dummy. Yeah.
Thanks,
We could all be dummies. Yeah. Chris, does Saraya give free head to the whole crowd, or does she win the AEW World Championship?
Are those the only two options? I don't.
It could be more.
Okay. All right, we're finally going to disagree about something, boys. I actually think that Britt Baker is going to win the match in the world title. I think that she's been complaining a lot backstage and online about not being used properly, and et cetera, et cetera. I think that she's pretty clearly a cancer to the women's locker room, but I also think that Tony Khan has absolutely zero testicular fortitude, so he's going to give in to the cancer and let her be the world champion at the biggest show that they've ever done, because that'll make her happy, and then her and her boyfriend can be happy at the end of the night together.
Yeah, dummy. Yeah.
Well, don't forget, she can win it a week later.
Yeah, that's true.
She could.
She could. I think that's why Saraya will win for me, and then DMD maybe the week later. But anyway, we'll see what happens there. Funny enough, though, Chris, you brought up about TK. He came out publicly on a podcast, I believe, and he said, get this, boys, he said, and I quote, "It's good to have a lot of tension in the back."
Oh.
That's what he said.
Sure.
He thinks competitiveness and tension in the back just wouldn't be a pro wrestling locker room without it. He doesn't mind a bit of bickering. So there's your leader, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, you know what that means?
Dummy,
Anyone? Yeah.
Dummy. Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, let's move on to the next match.
It's leadership like that is the reason why they are the industry leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway,
it's why he's leading a tertiary promotion.
The secondary promotion, that's right. Next, we have your AEW World Tag Team Championship matchup. It is your champions FTR versus the Young Marks. It's Mark and Mark Marksons. Is that what we call them? Mark and Mark Markson?
Clever.
Anyway, yeah, I guess I was thinking if the Bucks, but I guess we got to go FTR, and the Bucks I think will strip him the week after. But so for this match, FTR. Chris, I'll go to you this time. Who you got?
Yeah, I think FTR gets the win here tonight. I think that it's an actual surprising, result, and I think I really do think that it's at a certain point the EVPs are going to have to make some big concessions to the locker room of like, look, guys, like, we're not trying to just win all the time. Like, we don't always have to win the big ones. Sometimes we can do what's right for the company. And I really hope that's what's going to happen, but maybe I'm just overthinking it.
Maybe I am too, because I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks do win it. Jeff, who's winning?
Listen, I think you both made very good points, and I don't think this is an easy one to call, and that's a good thing going into a pay-per-view. There should be things that you want to see play out. Most of these matches so far, even if I've been a little bit wishy-washy, I don't care what happens in them. I, honest God, couldn't care less. This I have some mild interest in. Okay, so yes, at some point the Bucks probably should make concessions to the locker room, but I don't get the feeling that they're the kind of guys that do. I think that they feel like they already had by going into the trios division for a long time, and then they got suspended over it, and then they went back into the trios, and they didn't win. They let House of Black continue to win, so now they're back in the tag team division. I think they feel like they've done their penance, and if they're going to make a concession to the locker room, I don't think it's going to be in the historic Wembley Stadium of the biggest wrestling show of all time in their minds, which harkens back to All In, which was largely or done with their energies. I won't take that away from them. And I don't think they can resist having their hands raised at this particular show. I think it's just too much for them. And being a small petty man myself, I almost don't blame them for that. So I think it's the Bucks. I think they think it's their time. I think they legitimately think that they're stars and that they are draws. They are not. They have a following, but a following that's already baked into the AEW audience. People often leave in 5 and 6 digit increments when they're in the main event. On TV, they conveniently avoid that. Sometimes people leave in those increments when it's in the middle of the show, and then they come back a little bit later. Anyway, I'm just gonna pick the Bucks because they're the Bucks, and of course they're gonna put themselves over here. I hope you guys are both right. I hope you are, because I'm
not confident. Put it that way.
Yeah, I think FTR is a better tag team. They're actually tag team wrestlers. Say whatever you want about the Bucks, but they're not really tag team wrestlers. They're two wrestlers who synchronize their moves, together in sometimes very complicated and baroque dance routines. Except they stop being.
They do it pretty well. Let's be honest. They do it pretty well.
They did it pretty well for a while, but after you've seen,
once they got into AEW, they really went like pear shaped. But before that, let's not pretend that people weren't huge fans of theirs on the indie scene, because there was a lot of people talking them up.
The first time I saw them as the Bucks, not as Generation Me, I don't remember that.
I saw them as Generation Me first. I hated them.
I probably did too, but I probably paid no attention to them. But the first time I saw them as the Bucks in Ring of Honor, I had never seen anything like that before, and I was like, wow. And I was pretty impressed. And then I saw them in their gang fights with LIJ, and I was like, wow. And then I saw it for a year, and I was done being wow, because I could see everyone could do it, and I knew I was watching a sort of a third tier promotion. And now it's always the same thing. I would actually be more impressed if they did a regular match where they held on to the tag rope and they did tags and they used psychology and they sold things and told stories, because I know that they know that that's part of it. It's just the story. It's just the stories last 3 seconds at a time, and then it's a new story. It's like they forget. It's like they're constantly in memento, except they're moving forward.
No, you're right. And I was to say, I hated them as Generation Me in TNA, but it was Ring of Honor. They're running Ring of Honor that made me become fans of theirs. But like you said, once you've seen it once, You've seen it a million times, and once they got to AEW, that's when I started souring on them. But yeah, we do have Medium 5 saying yawn because Chris is how I feel. Well, we got to do a prediction show, man, on All In.
I'm not even tired. I'm to be honest with you, like it frustrates me when I hear people. No. It frustrates me when I hear people making excuses for the fucking Bucks. Like, and I hear it all the time. Like people saying, "Oh, well, they're popular, therefore." I don't give a shit. Fucking Justin Bieber is popular. It doesn't mean he's fucking talented. The Young Bucks are popular not because they're talented pro wrestlers. They are not professional wrestlers. Those guys do moves that look cool on TV. That's all they do. Professional wrestlers tell stories. Those guys can't fucking do it. I hate the Young Bucks.
Medium 5 says Chris would rather have a hand job by Estelle Getty than hear this shit right now.
Is she still alive?
Who is Estelle Getty? I have no idea.
She was the from the Golden Girls. She was the one who played the oldest lady, but she was actually the youngest one to be alive. I think
she was cool.
I mean, I know that Maud is dead. I know Betty White.
They all did. I'm pretty sure.
I think they're all passed. So getting a hand job from Estelle Getty would be like getting a hand job from a zombie.
Mikey, I loved the Golden Girls growing up as a kid, but for me to remember
Betty
a fucking
White
name,
she could get it.
Yeah,
she could touch it.
I don't want to think that
she
way.
was young. She was gorgeous. It's just that she looked like an old lady from the time she was middle aged. Like she basically,
that's strange.
She didn't change very much from like age 40 to age like 90.
But to be fair, everybody during that generation looked a lot older than what they were anyway, man.
It's true. If you watch the movie Cocoon, like
Wilford
Brimley, who he was younger than me when he was playing a retiree in that movie. I mean, listen, I don't think that I'm exactly aging like Brad Pitt, but I look younger than Wilford Brimley did then now.
You're funny, Jeff. Well, anyway, fellas, were you going to say something else, Jeff?
I don't know. You were like with this strange delay, like you wanted to tell me, no, you look like shit. Wilford Brimley's much better looking than you.
No.
Or I meant frozen. Or...
I froze. If that's what it sounded like, no, that's not what I said. I said you look good for your age. You got no wrinkles. That's what I said. But anyway.
Yeah, you froze.
Damn internet. Yeah, well. Anywho, let's move on, guys, to the main events gear.
I thought you were saying Wilford Brimley can get it and you can't.
Nah, no. I'm not that bad. Come on.
Wilford Brimley was hot. Wilford Brimley was, like Billy Squires said, your kind of lover.
Shit. Anyway, let's move on to the main event, shall we, fellas? It is MJF, your
Wilford
AEW.
Brimley is tight.
Did we forget an entire match? Like, doesn't Sting have a match on this card?
Didn't I already mention that?
I don't think so.
Oh, no, I didn't. You're right. It is. Yeah, let's go back a little bit. I don't know how I missed that. But anyway, it was Darby Allin and Sting versus RC Remote Control Fox, which I doubt is in the match anymore, right?
He's not there.
I know. I'm just reading what I'm reading. And Swerve Strickland with Christian Cage, which is the updated part.
Makes so much sense.
Is it still a coffin match since it's all about the dead?
Yes, of course it is, because
it's all about the dead.
Right.
Well, surely Darby
Payne
and
in
Sting.
The match?
Apparently he is.
Who?
Dick Payne.
Dick Payne.
I don't think Dick Payne is in the match, but I'm sure that Dick Payne will be at the show, probably with his mommy too.
Well, my dick is in pain just looking at this shit, just quietly. But anyway, it is.
Sting wins.
I mean,
yeah, that's it. Sting wins.
AR Fox couldn't get a visa. I mean, otherwise this makes zero sense.
It doesn't, but we don't have to speculate because it's AEW.
Yeah, but it barely makes 2% sense now.
You're asking complicated questions that I can't answer, Jeff.
I mean, the dude has an entire group called Mogul Embassy, and like Brian Cage come out to do the beatdown job, and it's not him or one of the other two guys. I mean, it's not some weird like reunification with Keith Lee, who's been doing nothing.
Oh, Yeah, I mean he's playing with his glory hole right now.
I mean, I get that Christian and Luchasaurus of sorts have a thing going with Darby. So from that perspective, it does sort of make sense that they're
forget Darby, forget Darby, forget Swerve. Sting wins. It's plain and simple.
Oh yeah.
Like Chris said,
sure,
that's it.
Yeah.
Sting wins.
Sting's not on pay-per-views to lose matches. Yeah, of course.
That's it, because that's all.
And
there's no one else.
And don't forget that Tony Khan recently said that he thinks that Sting is on the best run of his career in AEW.
Oh, yeah.
He is on the best run of his career in AEW.
Yeah. I mean, his TNA run is much better than this. Let's be honest.
Huh?
His TNA run will always be better than this.
His best run in AEW. His AEW
Of course
run is definitely his best run in AEW.
He main evented when he was in the WWE, and his WWE run sucked. So, come on.
Yeah. Anyway, Sting wins. We all say the Stinger is going to win, right?
I will say his AEW run is better than his WCCW run.
I mean, well, as the Blade Runners?
Yes, but not as good as his UWF run.
Jesus. You're funny. Most of our listeners probably don't have a clue what the fuck runs we're talking about right now.
Hot Stuff Incorporated. His tag team partner was Rick Steiner, Eddie Gilbert. You had Missy Hyatt there. Oh, that was good stuff. That was hot stuff.
Yeah, hot stuff. Eddie Gilbert, like you said.
Missy Hyatt was considered a wrestling sex symbol in 1987.
She was hot back then, but a big fucking slut. Let's be honest. She was a slut, bro. That's why she was a dirty fucking whore. Let's be honest.
She's hot for a strip club that's 40 miles out of the city. Hot. She's not hot for TV.
For the time, she was all right.
And then 8 years later, we got Sunny.
Sunny was on a different level. I can't believe how feral she looks right now. But Sunny was, I mean, yeah.
Well, different level. She's going to have to be feral to defend herself where she's going.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Well, Missy Hyatt, she was the first slut of wrestling. If you know what, I'll say it because it's true. Am I lying? Tell me when I'm telling lies.
She married Jason Hervey.
Yeah, and she fucked the whole fucking locker room. You can just ask Flair. You can ask Dusty. I bet you went through the.
Oh, come on,
Dusty.
I'm not asking Flair because I mean, there's no one that I can name that Flair's not going to say he fucked.
Well, Media M5 thinks Missy was the third biggest. Are you talking about the third biggest whore, or in wrestling, or who was the number one?
Boobs.
Yeah,
it's going to be super difficult for us to transition away from this. Actually, it's going to be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Let's get to the main event, Jimmy.
We shall. And it is your AEW World. Jesus. Plenty guys railed through Baby Doll. Fuck yeah, they did. Anyway, yeah.
Another one who is not hot. Precious, make it a triumvirate.
Baby Doll, I will agree with. But Missy Hyatt. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. Let's go to the main event, as Chris said.
I still think you can add Sable to the list of not hot. Anyway, moving on.
You know what? Big Ray agreed with you on that, by the way, Chris. He said the same thing. But anyway, Medium 5 is making me laugh. Anyway, it is your AEW World Championship matchup between Better Than You Bebe in MJF and Adam Cole. Bebe.
Are they still a tag team when they're facing each other?
I assume they won't be by the time they face each other, but we'll see. I mean, they could hug it out still at the end.
They could.
You know what I mean? Everyone will go home happy, like, yay! Now let's go and fuck together. Woo!
Introducing first, weighing in at 106 pounds, representing Better Than You Baby, Adam Cole.
Baby. Well, I'm going to say MJF because he's not going to lose his championship. Whether it's thanks to fuckery through, the Kingdom and Roderick Strong, we'll see. They will definitely get involved in the first match, though, on the pre-show. But anyway, MJF wins and retains his real World Championship. I think it's the real one, or it's not. I have no idea anymore. But yeah, he wins. Chris.
Yeah, MJF wins. I think the Kingdom is gonna turn on Adam Cole, and it's gonna be all about MJF proving that he is indeed the devil. Roddy Strong said last night at Well, when he was giving a backstage interview with Renee, he said that at the end of All In, MJF is going to show who he really is, and Adam Cole is going to show who he really is. And Adam Cole's going to be a good guy because he's more natural in that, even though he's terrible as a face. But MJF is a better heel, so that's the way they're going to go with that.
Because not only is he a scumbag, he's our scumbag. Right, Jeff?
Right. And it worked out well for Cody before. Yeah, I mean, I think he teased it there. But yeah, I agree. And my only question is whether this transitions into a feud with Adam Cole and the New Kingdom or whatever they're going to call themselves, or if the New Kingdom tries to get themselves into some sort of relevancy by becoming sort of the new horseman for MJF, his new little running crew, which is very, very AEW. But yeah, no way is MJF losing this quickly. It would be hysterical, though, to see like the world's smallest professional wrestler win a gigantic title in that gigantic stadium with, if there's really 84,000 people or whatever, and these little spindly arms going up, and and like I would actually enjoy seeing that, because that will be the lasting impression that's shown on ESPN about what is AEW wrestling to the world, and they'll be like, what the fuck is this shit?
Speaking of ESPN is broadcasting it live in my neck of the woods for free, so I'm happy about that. Don't have to pay for this shit.
Good for you.
I know.
I
Good
don't
for
have to pay
us.
for it either, because I'm choosing not to pay for it.
Well, you won't, because you can watch it through me without the feed fucking up, because it's coming directly from my...
Well, Wheeze, or this part of Wheeze, is going to be recording Garden of Doom between 1 and 3 on Sunday. So,
well, your loss.
So maybe,
Nah.
I feel like such a loss. So I may come in later, or I may just stick to my guns, which was do not watch this fucking card.
Just join us when you're ready, anyway. But anywho.
I mean, last time you said you got us a feed, you slept through the show. So
yeah, no, I'll be around this time. I was dead tired. I think we did like 5 shows that day, Jeff. Crying out loud.
You think it's going to be any better this week?
No, I'm energized. I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Believe me, I actually am.
All right.
And plus, with what's happened and all that, I'm actually, pretty intrigued with how the shows coming up from tomorrow are going to be like. But anyway. But in saying that, boys, let's take it home, shall we? Chris, tell them where they can find you, my friend.
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at ChrisAms1. You can go there to see everything that I have to say about politics, pro wrestling, and whatever the hell else comes to my mind. You can follow me right here on the PWC network. I pop in from time to time. But specifically, for me, the big show, the A show, the main show, Wednesday night skirmish. Love it, love it, love it. We just keep adding more and more interesting shows. I know that Jeff is holding it down with the Garden Views and the Garden of Doom. A couple of really great shows about all kinds of really interesting and really fun topics. I of course love it, being a 6-time guest on the show to talk about things that I found interesting. And you can also find me on HMG and channelattitude.com, specifically Sunday at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. After the collision, we sift through
the wreckage.
All right. We sift through the wreckage. Also, this week I was on the Impact Attack with Brandon, and Vet joined us for the last couple of minutes to come in and just grace us with his wisdom. So go ahead and check that out too this week.
I was just reading something. But anyway, Jeff, tell them where they can find you, my friend.
All right. On Twitter, at IcarusFellMD. You can find me on the PWC, and you could subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our Facebook group, and you can subscribe to, I'm a little bit worried about that one. You better elaborate there. You can also follow PWC Network on Twitter, and you can find these shows live, including the ones we do on what do you think this show is? I mean,
hey, there's like 1.5 Jews on this show and 1.5 Gentiles. This really fits.
Is that starring Charlie Sheen and John Cryer? Medium 5, you need to come up with something more conceptual than just that. But we'll see. Like I got nothing but time, right? But you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and you can get our shows live. And you can also subscribe to the HMG those channels and pay $5 a month, and you can hear those shows both live, but also later on they will be downloaded as audio podcasts. And then a few days later, the ones we're on anyway, Uncaged, Wreckage, and Smack Attack will also be on the PWC. But you got to wait a little bit. You got to wait a few days. HMG gets first bid, so that's worth your $5 right there. Chris already did a great job of selling my non-wrestling shows, Garden of the Doom and Garden Views. I interviewed an ambassador this week. First time I've spoken to an ambassador on the air, so that was pretty cool. And I talked to some people from Jimmy's neck of the woods earlier, Evan and Stephen Strong, about Aboriginal mythos and Lycos, and listen, I didn't know there was so much about Atlantis and Lemuria and aliens, but there are. So yeah, lots of stuff coming up there. And Hammerlock Hangover is the other wrestling podcast I do with Steve Pena, which is also on the PWC. And there's other things I do periodically. Doesn't matter if you follow me on all these places. Believe me, you'll if you follow me on Twitter, you'll find out about all this shit.
Well put, Jeff. Well, like the boy said, you can find me also at Twitter or the X at DJ Mass Effects, and also you can find us at the PWC Network. Like and subscribe right here at the pwcnetwork.podbean.com, where you can find all our shows, including us three, the A Show, the Pro Wrestling Reflection, the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, and many more, right here on the pwcnetwork.podbean.com. Also, like and subscribe at channelattitude.com with $5. You get the best talk in all of wrestling. That's $5. And also, like Chris said, we're upcoming on Uncaged this coming Friday night. We've also got the Smack Attack Saturday morning. And after the Collision, we sift through the
Wreckage
Sunday morning in the AM, so don't miss out on those. And also like and subscribe at hummingmediagroup.podbean.com for all our affiliate shows, including Jeff's. And I think we're out, boys. So in saying that, I am Jimmy T, that is Chris Ams, and that is Dr. Jeff Lippman, and you've been listening and watching the PWC AEW All In Prediction Show right here on the PWC Network, and we're out.
Olay.
See yous.
Stay with my friends.
Why they sleeping, why they snoozed on me? I was seizing opportunity. Now they don't know what to do with me. I keep going hard like I'm in puberty. Rebellions in my blood, there ain't no ruling me. I'm coming for the top, this is a mutiny. Shit, I want percentage, yeah. Put you in your mind like fucking Guinness, yeah. You never had a chance like an abortion. Broken, you don't wanna play with me, this forfeit. Shit, took it to a place that never thought he could. Now the lone wolf is howling up in Bollywood. Now I got some confidence, they call me cocky. Like a fucking tiger in the eye, I feel like Rocky. I am untouchable, I cannot fuck with you. I do not follow rules, makes me uncomfortable. I got all this passion and desire, force my path with the fire. Never passive, I acquire till I'm crashing your empire. They were sleeping, they were snooze on me. I was dreaming about what food to eat. Why they sleeping, why they snoozed on me? I was seizing opportunity. Coming for the top, this is a mutiny.
The PWC Network. What the world is watching and listening to.